What's new with MLA Documentation, 2009? The basic requirements of MLA documentation are to signal in, signal out, link to the works cited, and have an entry in your works cited. Signaling in, what is it? Well, it can take many forms, but it's the way you introduce your source and make the reader aware you are drawing from an outside source. So you could say, according to so-and-so states, such and such asserts. You just need to let the reader know that it's not your ideas anymore, but it's the ideas from some other source. Signaling out, what is it? Well, this is how you tell your reader that you're done drawing from the outside source and it's just you, the writer, and your ideas again. It could be an in-text citation, like the author's last name and page number if there is one. It could be the end of the quotation marks. It could be language, like, well, such and such states, I, on the other hand, posit that. Do you have to signal in and out every time? Yes, but do it gracefully, not clunkily. Here's an example. Bill Smith states that blah, 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 and then you have your signal out, page number if you have it, if you don't, leave it blank. He goes on to say blah, blah, blah. He further illuminates the point by stating such and such. I, on the other hand, state that yada, yada, yada. So the I, on the other hand, is signaling to your reader that it's not you anymore, okay? So that's how you're signaling out of the quote of the material prior to that. Watch out for indirect quotes. Indirect quotes are, or paraphrases, is when you take the idea from what Smith said in something that Jones authored. So an example is, according to Smith, blah, blah, blah. Now, Smith didn't write the article, Jones did. So you have to say quoted in Jones. Space, page number if you have it, if you don't, leave it blank. Linking the in-text citations. The purpose of the in-text citations is to, well, they're called in-text citations because they're in the text of the essay. Okay, which is the correct answer? The purpose of the in-text citations is to A, confuse the student, B, confuse the teacher, C, add an additional layer of complexity to what should be a simple essay, or D, guide the reader to the works cited and thus the ability to locate the source independent of the essay. And the correct answer is D, guide the reader to the works cited and thus the ability to locate the source independent of the essay. Imagine that you have a guest from out of town staying in your house and they would like to go visit the nearest Starbucks. Imagine explaining the directions to them to get to the Starbucks. This is basically the same concept you're using when you create an in-text citation. You're trying to help the reader, you're mapping for them the way that they could actually go and retrieve the original material that you're drawing from. So I have two examples of in-text citations here. Smith 29 is like something you'd see at the end of a sentence, and then according to Smith is what you'd see at the beginning of a sentence. And both of them you see link to the first word in the works cited entry. In the 2009 changes for MLA, you're supposed to use italics instead of underlining for punctuation in the sources, in the entries. Do not include the URL anymore. Do include the type of medium, whether it's print or web. If a date is not available, use ND to show that. If page numbers are not available, use N.page to show that. If there is a PDF version of an article you are examining from a database, use that because it will have page numbers. You always want as much mapping for your reader as you can find. You no longer should include the physical location where the database is sponsored in the works cited citations, i.e., for example, Lansing Community College. And here's some examples. The first one is a print source. Obviously it says print. It shows where italics is used to show that it's the title of a journal rather than underlining. And then the second example is showing a web source, and actually on this one there is an error here, so that gives us an opportunity to fix it. The source goes before the date of access and is not italicized, so let's fix that, and then that messes up our indent. Here we go. Okay, oops, you get the idea. And let's see, on this last one is just kind of a template. Author if given, article title. If you don't have an author, then the next thing goes next, so it would be the article title. The magazine in italics, the date, the pages, the database, the fact that it's web.